The harsh ping of another rejection email pierced through the silence of my cramped studio apartment. I stared at the laptop screen, the words "we regret to inform you that we have selected a candidate who is a better fit" blurring before my eyes like a cruel mockery. This was the third time I had been turned down for the medical laboratory technician position I desperately wanted. The reason echoed with brutal consistency through every phone interview: we need someone with reliable and flexible transportation. At that exact moment, my phone lit up with Jessica's latest social media post. My cousin was posing beside a brand new BMW, her caption reading, "Thank you Mom and Dad for this amazing gift. Ready for new adventures?" The bitter irony twisted in my chest like a knife. It wasn't jealousy that consumed me, but the raw unfairness of it all. Because I had a car too, or rather, I used to have one. The memory of my graduation day flooded back with vivid clarity. Grandpa Arthur, a distinguished war veteran with silver hair and steel gray eyes, had placed the Subaru keys in my palm with the solemnity of a sacred ritual. "The world out there is harsh, Chloe," he had said, his weathered voice carrying decades of wisdom. "This car isn't a gift, it's a tool for your freedom, so you never have to depend on anyone else." Those words had meant everything to me then. They meant even more now as I sat in my apartment, trapped and immobilized while my dreams slipped away one rejection at a time. I picked up my phone and dialed my mother's number, hoping against hope that somehow things had changed. "Oh, sweetie." Karen's voice dripped with that familiar syrupy tone that had always made me uncomfortable. "What can I do for you?" "Mom, what's the status with my car? I really need it. I just lost another job opportunity because of transportation issues." "Oh honey, my poor baby," she sighed dramatically. "The car is still at the mechanic's shop. They discovered a major engine problem that could be very dangerous. I'm handling everything to make sure you're completely safe. Don't worry about that job anyway, it wasn't a good fit for you. I'll find you something much better. You just focus on taking care of yourself." Something in her tone triggered an alarm bell in my mind. The way she dismissed my concerns so easily, the vague answers about the car's condition, and most importantly, the fact that she seemed more focused on controlling my decisions than actually helping me. Without hesitation, I hung up and immediately called the garage where my mother usually took her vehicles. "Hello, this is Chloe," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "My mother, Karen Whitman, brought a Subaru Outback in for engine repairs last week." There was a pause on the other end, followed by the sound of papers shuffling. "Mrs. Whitman's Subaru?" The honest mechanic replied. "We only did an oil change and detailed it. There were absolutely no engine problems. She picked it up last week, and it looked brand new." The truth hit me like a physical blow. I felt the blood drain from my face as the pieces of the puzzle snapped into place with sickening clarity. My mother had lied to me, not just a small white lie, but a calculated deception that was actively destroying my future. I took the bus to my parents' house without calling ahead, my heart pounding with a mixture of rage and desperate hope that somehow there was still an innocent explanation. The elegant suburban home looked picture perfect as always, but the driveway was conspicuously empty. My Subaru was nowhere to be seen. "Mom, where's my car?" I asked directly when Karen opened the front door, her perfectly manicured appearance unable to hide the flash of panic in her eyes. "What are you doing here?" "I told you the car is at the garage," she replied, but her voice lacked its usual confidence. "I just called them. They said you picked it up last week and that it's in perfect condition." Caught in her lie, Karen's demeanor shifted from fake sweetness to cold defensiveness. "Are you questioning your own mother? After everything your father and I have done for you? How ungrateful can you be?" My father Richard emerged from the living room, looking uncomfortable and avoiding eye contact. "What's going on here? Look at your daughter." Karen shrieked. "She came here to interrogate us like we're criminals." I realized that arguing with them directly would be futile. They had perfected the art of manipulation over years of practice. Instead, I took a deep breath and forced myself to appear defeated. "You're right, Mom. I'm sorry. I must have misunderstood. I'm probably just stressed out." I sat down in the living room, casually placing my phone under a magazine on the coffee table after activating the voice recorder. After engaging in a few minutes of forced small talk, I excused myself and left. On the bus ride home, I put in my earbuds with trembling hands. My mother's voice came through crystal clear, cold and calculating in a way I had never heard before. "See? All it takes is standing firm and she backs down immediately. I already posted the car for sale online. We need that money to pay off the credit card debt and put a deposit down for the Hawaii trip." She can take the bus. A little hardship will help her grow up and become more responsible. My father's weak voice responded, but it's Dad's car. If he finds out, Dad's getting old, he won't remember. Karen cut him off dismissively. This is for our family's future, Richard. You need to understand that. I gripped my phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. This wasn't protection or tough love. This was betrayal of the deepest kind. My own mother was sabotaging my future for a vacation and to cover up their financial irresponsibility. Just then, my phone rang. It was Grandpa Arthur. Chloe, sweetheart, the family's gathering at my house for the 4th of July barbecue this year. I can't wait to see you drive that car over here. Show everyone what a capable young woman my granddaughter has become. The 4th of July barbecue took place in Grandpa Arthur's sun-drenched backyard, filled with the aroma of grilled meat and the sound of family laughter. I arrived by bus, my heart heavy with the weight of what I was about to reveal. The celebration felt like a stage set for the confrontation that was inevitable. Grandpa Arthur looked genuinely surprised when he saw me walk through his back gate. "Where's your car, sweetheart?" Before I could answer, Karen swooped in like a vulture, wrapping her arm around my shoulders in a display of false maternal pride. She announced loudly enough for the entire gathering to hear, "My brilliant daughter decided to sell her car to invest in an advanced certification program. She's so ambitious and forward-thinking. We couldn't be prouder of her." Several relatives nodded approvingly, impressed by what they believed was my mature financial planning. Jessica, sipping a cocktail near the pool, smirked condescendingly. "Sold your car? Or were you too scared to drive it? Maybe you sold it because you were afraid of scratching it. Anyway, taking the bus probably suits those temporary jobs you've been doing, Chloe." That comment was the spark that ignited the powder keg of my accumulated rage and hurt. I firmly removed my mother's arm from my shoulders and looked directly into her eyes, then turned to face my grandfather and the entire family gathering. "Actually," I said loudly, my voice cutting through the music and conversation like a knife, "I never sold my car." The entire backyard fell silent except for the gentle sizzle of meat on the grill. "My mother took it," I continued, my voice growing stronger with each word, "and she's trying to sell it to pay off credit card debt and fund a vacation to Hawaii." Karen's face went ashen. "Chloe, what are you saying? Are you making up stories to embarrass your parents in front of the entire family? Making up stories?" I replied coldly, pulling out my phone and connecting it to the Bluetooth speaker on the patio table. I pressed play. "I already posted the car for sale online. We need that money to pay off the credit card debt and put a deposit down for the Hawaii trip. She can take the bus. A little hardship will help her grow up." The entire recorded conversation played out in excruciating detail. The sound of someone's glass shattering on the concrete punctuated the silence. Jessica's mouth hung open in shock, her earlier smugness replaced by horror. Karen stood frozen, drained of all color and unable to form words. Grandpa Arthur, who had remained silent throughout this revelation, slowly stood up. He didn't look at Karen initially. Instead, his steel gray eyes fixed on my father with the intensity of a laser beam. "Richard," he said, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had commanded respect for decades, "you allowed your wife to steal from your own daughter and lie to me. You are no longer a man in my eyes." Then he turned to face Karen, and I had never seen my grandfather look so coldly furious. "You have 24 hours. Return Chloe's car to her. Tomorrow morning, my lawyer will contact you. You will sign over all the paperwork properly and pay for Chloe's insurance for the entire next year. If you refuse, I will contact the police about theft and fraud charges." The barbecue disintegrated into chaos. Karen and Richard left hastily amid stony silence and contemptuous stares from the extended family. Jessica couldn't meet my eyes for the rest of the evening. The next morning, my Subaru was parked outside my apartment building. Karen didn't dare speak a single word, simply handing me the keys with a mixture of resentment and fear in her eyes. Grandpa Arthur stood nearby with his arms crossed, ensuring that everything proceeded exactly as he had promised. He handed me a check as Karen drove away. "This is compensation for the job opportunities you lost," he said firmly. "Never let anyone tell you that you don't deserve better." Several weeks later, I found myself driving my Subaru down the interstate highway, wearing my crisp new uniform and heading to the largest hospital in the city to begin my dream job. My phone buzzed in my purse, displaying Mom on the screen, but I ignored it completely. Instead, I glanced in my rearview mirror and watched as the familiar cityscape, my parents' neighborhood, and my entire painful past gradually receded, growing smaller and smaller until they disappeared completely around a curve in the road. I smiled genuinely for the first time in months, a smile that represented authentic freedom. I pressed down on the accelerator, and my car surged forward powerfully into the future I was finally free to create for myself. The screen faded to black, leaving only the steady, strong sound of the engine and a final message: some things are best left in the rearview mirror.